Sorry.
That's okay.
Technical.
Can you give us the pledge, do you think?
Sure. You have the flag?
I don't think we do we, Tegan? There we go.
Okay, I pledge allegiance.
I think that
Oh.
we're waiting for it to load.
Oh. Sorry.
Here we go. Go ahead.
I pledge allegiance
Allegiance
To the
to the
flag
flag
of the United States
of the United States of America and
and
to the republic
Republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Christina.
You're welcome.
So I don't think we need to do a roll call. Or is Salia here? Does Salia want to have a roll call?
Yes, I'm here, John. I noted the roll call. Thank you.
Okay.
You should probably still do one though, just for
Okay.
matter of course.
All right. Commissioner Driggers,
Here.
Commissioner Ghosh. Yeah, we're going to have to unmute. Joita,
Here,
thank you.
sorry.
Commissioner Tang,
Here.
Commissioner Umarini,
Here.
and myself, John, present. Okay. So I'd like a motion for, I assume you've all seen the agenda, so I'd like a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve. Driggers.
Thank you, Driggers. And a second. Do I have
Aye.
I'm sorry, who was that?
Commissioner Ghosh, aye.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Jason. All right. The next item is the approval of the minutes. And Keegan, I just wanted to raise one question on the wording on item 9, business items, public art fund update. One of the comments that we discussed was with a couple of points. The motivation behind asking for an update of the public art fund was more to understand how much there was there, and then to keep us informed on a regular basis. It wasn't necessary to provide the commission with a presentation for the public art fund balance in order to complete our work plan for this year. It was more to keep the commission informed as hopefully the fund increases and what activity there is. And during that discussion, I had asked that we actually had a quarterly update on that. So I think you probably recall that.
I do.
Okay.
So these are action minutes. They're kind of abbreviated, but if that's very important, you can say so.
I think it is important because yes, I think it is important.
Okay.
So do you need some wording from me or?
I don't think so. I think we can know that we need to add on item 9A that Chair Ag requested quarterly updates.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Then, unless the commissioners have any other questions on the minutes for the last meeting, I'd like a motion to approve them as so amended. I'm assuming that you're quickly scanning the minutes just to make sure, in fact, that you're comfortable with them. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve Driggers
Thank
as
you.
amended.
Thank you. All right. So now we have the public forum.
Wait, John, did you get a second?
Yes, I heard a second, but I didn't catch who it was.
I second John.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Did you guys take a vote?
Oh, yes. All those in favor?
Aye, Commissioner Ghosh.
Aye, Commissioner Tang.
Commissioner Uramini
Yeah, I do.
and Commissioner Driggers.
Aye.
And I so approve. So the motion is approved. Okay, now we move on to the public forum. Those interested are invited to address the commission on any subject not on the agenda via the public meeting comments form available at https://www.ci.milpitas.ca.gov. The chair or designee will read comments out loud at the meeting and be limited to 3 minutes or less. As an item not listed on the agenda, no response is required of the commission or staff. However, commission members may request staff to add the item to a future meeting agenda. This public meeting will be led with professionalism, respect, and civility. So profanity and/or vulgar language will not be shared. Tegan, do we have any emails, any public comments?
At the moment, you do not.
You didn't come through very clearly, Tegan. I didn't hear what you said. Still didn't hear it. I don't know whether the other committee.
You do not have any public comment, no, right? No.
Okay. All right. So then we move on to announcements. Do we have any announcements, Tegan? Do any commissioners have any announcements?
No, you do not have any public. No, John, you did not have any public. Yes, I'll make a quick announcement. John, I don't think you can hear us. Were the rest of you able to hear me?
Is it me?
No, we can't hear you, Tegan.
Oh, that's helpful. Okay.
Again, your connection is spotty.
Okay. I'll call you, I guess.
So clarify for me, Tegan. We had no public comments. Is that right?
No.
Okay. You mentioned that you may have an announcement. We're struggling with our
I
connection.
do, but I'm going to try to call in since it sounds like you guys can't hear me.
Right.
Mhm. Rochelle, I'm having trouble getting through. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
We can hear you, Tegan, but still spotty.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
okay.
you're breaking out so bad. It's probably the area, the location where you're at.
Okay, we'll try this. Is this better? Can you hear me?
I can hear you right there.
No.
The rain in Spain?
If you can hear me, I'm going to sign off and sign back on again and see if that helps.
No, why don't you sign off and come back on, because you're very spotty. How many more days of this hot weather are they forecasting? Does anybody know?
There's a fire in Napa, so I
Oh,
think,
there's several fires in Napa, and it might-
yeah, so I think that, it's going to start settling the smoke,
yeah.
making it more,
It's
unbearable.
gonna be hot all week though.
All week?
Yes, I believe so.
Oh boy. My very best friend lives in Sonoma, so he's a little concerned right now.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah,
that's scary.
yeah.
So the fire was because of the wind yesterday, right? Very,
Wind and the heat, and there was no humidity last night, so
Yeah.
ideal weather for fires. Well, we could get an awful lot done before Tegan gets back. Then we'd be real trouble, wouldn't we?
how have you been, Chair? Ag,
I'm sorry.
how have you been?
I've been fine. I had a shock this morning though, Jayitha. I walk my dogs early in the morning, and we end up halfway through our trip at Pete's by the the city center, and the power was out, so there was no coffee for me this morning. So that's the first time that's happened. So it's not a good way to start the day.
How did you survive?
I guess we should think of getting together for a coffee meet sometime.
You
6
know,
feet.
I actually would love it, but having gone through the video and various classes on Brown Act, I'm always very concerned about meeting. Are you with us, Tegan?
I hope so. Can you hear me?
Not really.
No,
How's this?
that's good.
Better?
That's better.
Okay, I'll
Yes.
just sit here and hold the phone to my face the whole time.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for your patience. I appreciate it.
Not at all. Not at all.
So we're, as I recall, on item 9A.
Yeah, we had no announcement then. I thought you indicated. You did.
Yes, I would like to make an announcement if we
Okay.
could. I could. I just wanted to let everyone know, Commissioners Driggers and Ag, your terms are ending in October, but you're both eligible for reapplication. And all you need to do, if you're interested in reapplying, is to contact the mayor and let him know.
Okay.
And but as everybody knows, we are so short of commissioners. They are doing a push to get commissioners in November, and I would really encourage everybody to reach out to folks that you know that might be interested in serving, and encourage them to apply now in October, so that they will be ready to be appointed in November. If you need an application, please let me know. It's also available on the website.
Okay.
So that is,
What does the push consist of, Tegan? Now we have,
publicity for all the commissions. There's multiple commissions that are in need of members, and this is a time when people term off in October. So we are trying to reach out.
I understand. I was just wondering, what methods are we using to try and reach these potential commissioners?
I believe the city clerk advertises the commission openings, and of course it's advertised on all the city channels.
Okay. All right. Okay.
But word of mouth is always the best. So if you know somebody, please have a chat with them and encourage them to apply.
Yeah,
Is
thank
Nextdoor Landing a good place to announce something like this?
Next door is a good place, and I'll check and see if the city clerk has done that yet. And if not, we can put something up.
Okay.
If you're ready for item 9A.
Yes, we are.
Okay. I didn't know if you guys had done announcements. Anyway,
No,
so
we
item
didn't.
9A is the public art collection. Well, we've got a spot at the end of the agenda where we can catch the any other announcements if you have them
Okay.
on the future agenda items and staff and city council and liaison reports.
Okay. All right. So the 9A public art collection, staff will present information on the public art collection and explain planned inventory updates.
Thank you. So I just wanted to let you all know that we recently located information, historical information about the collection. So that has enabled us to get started on our inventory. I know that that's been a topic of our discussion in the past. The reason that we are interested in compiling a database is, of course, it will help us to proceed with our maintenance plan that you have included on your work plan. The compiling the additional information is part of our staff work plan, so it's not an additional fiscal impact on the city. What we can tell from the information that we have is that there are currently 42 pieces in the collection, including 18 utility boxes, which are classified as temporary art. The attached, which I don't think it is attached,
No,
public art. Okay.
I highlighted that. I was ready for you on that one.
Yeah. So, okay, I'll have to include that later. I'm afraid I was out of the office on Friday and we were a bit jumbled, and I probably didn't forward that information to the folks that needed to send this to you.
Okay.
The total cost of all the pieces at acquisition was $655,045. But that's not the value of the collection. That is just what it cost when we bought each specific piece. If we wanted to determine present day value, as I know we had mentioned at one point, we would need to hire an expert to research and price the pieces as they are priced today. The public art fund has been used for this acquisition, and it has been used for maintenance. Relatively little maintenance has been done on the collection, though, over the years. The repairs that are noted on the records that we were able to find are for artwork at Augustine and Murphy, and the cost of relocating the Cartwheel Kids. We are going to, as I said, work on developing a robust public art database this year, because I think that will help us with regular maintenance of the collection, and it's also helpful to ensure diversity in the collection, and it promotes public art as a community resource by connecting it with the GIS. That would allow people to do, for example, art tours, because they'd be able to quickly link to the locations. The data points that we would like to put in the new database are obviously the name of the artwork and the name of the artist. I think it would be helpful if we connected that to an artist biography. It's not really something that we need for inventory purposes, but it's always helpful for publicity and education efforts. The exact location of the artwork will allow us to pinpoint it on the map. The date of acquisition and the price at acquisition, we generally have that information in the new pieces of data that we found. Physical size of the piece, materials, we could fill in more specific information about the materials that are used. That would certainly help us in the future. For example, we've been talking about the flute player and getting that repatinaed, but we don't have the specific patinas noted from the time that that piece was new. So it's kind of slowed us up a bit. And if we had all that neatly available to us, it would make our lives much easier when we needed to do maintenance and repairs. A good database would include the maintenance schedule and recommended maintenance protocol that you would receive from the artist at the time of acquisition. We can also track maintenance and repair records on specific pieces, photos, plaque text, an artist statement, which typically is presented when you unveil the artwork, or sometimes included on a plaque. But again, that's helpful. Okay, you guys are breaking up. Am I still there? Can you hear me?
Yeah. You're echoing though.
I'm echoey.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But we can hear you.
Okay, all right, I'll keep going then.
Yeah.
And then any media coverage of the piece would be something that we would want to include in the database. If there's anything else that you can think of, I'd be happy to note it. But this was more of an informational report rather than anything that requires an action on your part.
Well, that's great news that you found it, the data. That's terrific, Deegan. And you know, there's very little right now that we can do to move this forward. But thank you very much. Thank the team, thank the city for doing it. Will you forward to us, to each the commissioners, the list? I'd like to see the items, the 42 items.
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
I will be happy to forward it to you. I should caution you, though, that it's not as specific as you might hope, in that right now it's got, for example, the library. It just says library because that was the name of the project. It doesn't have the name of the pieces. The senior center, same thing, even though there's multiple pieces that are in the senior center. So you're going to have basically a location and a chunk of money that was expended toward that location. But not the details on the artwork. That's the piece that we need to
send it to us.
Gather.
Let's get a feel.
I'll be happy to do that.
Thank you, Stephen. Okay. So now we move on to slide B, which is the Montague pedestrian overcrossing art. And the Commission will continue its discussion of the call for artists for the Montague pedestrian overcrossing art project. And before we get into everyone's input and recommendations and thoughts, I just want to apologize. It's my fault. I take total blame for the fact that we didn't end up with a subcommittee. And I have no excuses other than I blew it. So 50 lashes. But it may be fortuitous that we didn't have the subcommittee because it's given all of us, I think, individually an opportunity to read the parameters that were defined and recommended by the city staff, and then for us to think about that and add our own thoughts. So in this meeting, I'm proposing that we individually outline what thoughts you have for each of the parameters that were outlined in the city recommendations. And we'll try and distill that into a general discussion. So if we can quickly go through the individuals. So I'm going to start with Christina, Commissioner Driggers. And Christina, have you had an opportunity to give some thought to the crosswalk artwork and what you would like to see or what your feelings are on that topic?
No, actually, I was just going to go with the majority, whatever the majority wanted, as I was beginning to phase out. I mean, I wasn't really looking at it in depth.
Okay.
So you might want to get me.
You want take a pass, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Joyita, Commissioner Ghosh, have you had a chance to itemize some thoughts on the crosswalk artwork?
Yeah, Chair Ag, I often do, I submit pieces of my artwork for call for artists. So most of the time what I notice is in every caucus that we submit art, there is a theme. And when there is a theme, it helps the artist to visualize because it will be a nicely written paragraph about what the city is asking for or what the gallery is asking for. And they also say that if you feel you have artwork which you would want to submit, some old artwork, we are welcome, you are welcome to submit it as well. So that way, you give a lot more freedom to the artist. So the artist can submit something really beautiful, which he had already created, and submit that, or maybe, some beautiful thing that he thinks, okay, this theme would work really well for what I'm thinking of and create. So a theme really helps an artist to visualize.
Okay.
So I definitely feel that should be important.
Okay. Have you gone as far as perhaps suggesting the wording for a theme?
Not really. I haven't really thought of wording. I have ideas what the themes should be. I definitely don't want to restrict on artists' demographic or artistic style. That is something which has to be very open.
Okay.
And I haven't really thought of theme as, I mean, just a generic thing I have thought of, one is maybe focus on the history of Milpitas. And the number two is, where Milpitas is right now, as in demographic, geographic, and diversity-wise. So to represent all of that.
Okay.
So these are the two themes which has been in my mind, but I haven't really thought of it a little more deeply.
Great. Do you have any comments on the cost of the art? How much we would recommend spending on such a project? Any limits?
Hard one. I think of, I'm not too sure about that, but maybe 30,000
Okay.
should be a, with the size, it says it's 620 feet.
Yeah.
And I mean, the limit should be that, but if, we could just look at more between 10 and 20, that would be a better idea.
And this is presuming that you agree with the city recommendation that we go with a mural rather than some kind of tiled artwork. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yes.
Okay.
I saw the prices for the tile and I thought it would be way too expensive.
Right. Right. Okay. Great. Commissioner Uramimi, do you have some thoughts on this?
Yeah, let me unmute. Yes. First of all, I do agree with Commissioner Ghosh, and in fact, my thought process is exactly on similar lines. And I have given some thought about possible themes. And what I was looking at is Milpitas, as Commissioner Ghosh says about the location, there are two aspects. One is it's hub to a lot of technology. Being from engineering background, I know like all this technology is used to connect people.
Mhm.
And BART is again connecting different locations. And this bridge is in fact connecting the BART station to actual location where people are living or going out for shopping. So from that perspective, I was thinking something like connecting people. It's about connection. So what if we use this space to promote that Milpitas city is connecting everyone all together, inclusiveness. So as Commissioner Ghosh said, I would like to give this as a theme to artists so that we can have different type of collections around this thing. This is just a suggestion, but it's everything like it represents the BART, the bridge, and the technology sector that Milpitas has.
Great, great. So there's a tie there between yourself and Joyita, to the extent that what you're saying is the artist needs, the prospective artist needs a little guidance, direction, that it's not completely open. It has to have some kind of message
Right.
that ties into Milpitas.
Yes.
Is that a fair statement?
Yeah.
That's a very fair statement.
Yes.
Okay,
That's a part one.
okay,
And the second part is, see, the Milpitas BART station is really beautiful. It has really nice aesthetics. So what I prefer is the artwork should flow with that. It should not look like a patchwork.
okay.
So now when I say that, now you want something modern or like something that blends with the overall architecture or structure of BART. Things may be expensive. And then I'm a little concerned about the guidelines that have been provided to us about budget. So I would, ideally, it would be good if there is more budget and if we can have some modern style of artwork that blends with overall architecture, that would be great.
Okay. Give me that last sentence again, Sandy, if I get it.
So my point is, we may need to have a little flexibility on budget.
Yeah.
So that we can have opportunity to find artwork that blends well with the architecture of BART station.
Okay. So correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm misinterpreting this, but you're saying that Commissioner Ghosh had suggested 30,000 as the upper limit. You're saying perhaps it should be more?
So unfortunately, I may not be able to make a comment right now because for that, first we need to hear what would be the price for different style of artwork, and that we can decide only once we get a quote from the artist.
Okay.
I'm not saying that we must spend more, but when we open when we are open for the request from artists, it should not be shut down because we have a certain budget limit.
Yes. And I know maybe Tegan could give me some advice on this, but we don't actually, do we actually give the artists, the potential prospective artists, any guidance on the amount of money made available for a project?
When you
hear me?
No,
Barely. No.
no. I think the truth is that Tegan is in Australia. She's not telling us this.
I wish.
I was
Um,
all the time thinking that either Spain or Australia.
When you offer a call for artists, you issue an amount that you're going to pay. So you tell them what you're going to pay them.
Okay, all right. Okay. Sandeep, do you have any additional comments?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay.
Commissioner Tang,
I have no preference.
you have, I'm sorry,
I have no preference.
no? Okay. All right. Well, I saved myself to last, but it's almost as if, as a group, you've already come up with a very similar series of comments. I took the time to actually put it down on paper. So let me just quickly run through. As the city had outlined the parameters, I'm going to go in sequence with what they had commented. But obviously, I think we all seem to agree that it's a mural. It's nothing else. It is a mural. And quite candidly, it's a great opportunity for a muralist. The commission cost range, I agree with Commissioner Ghosh that not to exceed 30,000. And even though I think this was slightly above recommendation coming from the city, I have the following reason. The proposed Montague Crosswork mural will help create first impressions of the city of Milpitas. It will be making an important statement. Such a commission can be justified compared with the similar cost of the Higuera Park sculpture of 30,000. So admittedly, the sculpture, in order for it to be completed, included a lot of setup and surveying and so on. I still think that the fact that we invested 30,000 in the Higuera sculpture is a strong justification for us to have this important mural as we spend the same amount of money. Geographic candidate limitations. I was a little bit more limiting, Jaitha. I felt, and I don't know how in touch you are with Santa Clara County and in particular San Jose, but there is a huge number of young emerging artists and established artists that are resident in the valley here, in the county. So my preference was to find somebody, and I'll read you what I proposed, that it should be a Santa Clara County based artist. And the reasons are that there are several accomplished professional muralists located in the county, and priority should be offered to them. However, consideration should also be given to emerging artists within the county intent on a career in art. So I've met and seen and experienced a lot of very youthful, energetic artists who really are eager for this to be their life's work. And I would not want to exclude them. So from my standpoint, an artist who is an artist, who loves art, whether they are, well established or emerging in the county, would be my preference. And I'm willing, if you want to challenge me on that, I'm quite happy to talk about it.
Well, I feel a lot of very talented artists live around we can always kind of confine it to Bay Area, but Oakland and San Francisco, those regions have a huge number of talented artists as well. So I feel we might be confining ourselves a little bit if we confine the the finding of an artwork or finding of an artist. So, I mean, that's my view. I just feel we should open out to Alameda County as well.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm not going to hold it against you, Joyita. I think that you're right. I mean, particularly Oakland is a
Yeah.
budding community of artists and galleries and so on. You're absolutely right. Okay, the next thing was artistic style. From my standpoint, I suggested no specific style required. However, the artist should specify and include in the specific project plans for a degree of relative permanence and protection from the elements. And I was concerned about that because we are very close to the expressway there. So it'll be challenged with, I think, the vehicle traffic and so on as an added challenge. But from my standpoint, I don't mind what the style is. And in fact, I included a comment that if that included street art, I would be very happy for it. Okay. And we'll go back over these in a minute, just so that we can maybe come to some kind of consensus. But the last point I wanted to make is the thing that Joyita and Sandeep brought up, and that is a theme we think we're proposing there must be, as part of this, some guidance to the artist on what the city expects. My justification for that is the following. The artist should consider the location of the artwork is considered a major access point for visitors to the city of Milpitas, and as such should creatively convey the personality of the town. So I sort of summarized, Sandeep, in a way what you were saying, and also Jay, what you were saying. I went on to describe that theme, and I don't mind if this can be changed completely. The city of Milpitas sees itself as both an old and established community and a modern, vibrant community, a gem nestled between two large cities. It is fiercely independent and shaped by both the geology and its rich history. It is welcoming and diverse, multicultural community proud of its heritage and its continually growing population of young families. Now, that didn't include, I'm sorry? I'm sorry, somebody said something? Was that Councilmember Driggers? Did you want to say something? Okay, someone is saying something, but they're breaking up. Tegan, are you with us?
I am with you.
Huh.
Can you hear me better?
Yes, a little bit better. I think maybe somebody has not muted. Oh, it's Councilmember Carmen Montana. Welcome, Carmen. Okay.
Can you hear me? And my phone, I'm going on and off, so sometimes you break off.
Can you hear us, Carmen?
So the whole meeting is, it's having technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes the connections.
Yeah.
Okay, well, moving on.
Okay, all right. So look, in no way am I suggesting that what I've put down in paper here is the final product. But if we can go through these parameters one more time and perhaps agree on some rough wording and hopefully Tegan will be able to capture that, and Salia will be able to capture this, and we can move forward. But we're all agreeing that it's a painted mural. I don't think there's any disagreement on that. There is some discussion about the range, the cost range. And I don't know how, Tegan, we can do this. Sandeep's suggestion is that for the design to be compatible with the BART architecture and design, it may be necessary for us to spend more than we would if we were just saying we gave the artist carte blanche. So how do we word that, or should we?
I think you can tell the artist in the call that you want it to be compatible, and you can certainly give it a theme if you wish. I heard the technology BART, those themes coming through. But as far as needing to offer more money to get something that goes with the BART station, I honestly don't think you need to. We included in the staff report the range that people are paying for murals, and those are quite high quality artists throughout the Bay Area. So if you're certainly welcome to offer more, but I don't think you need to get a good quality piece. And the other thing too is when you get your submissions, if you truly don't find anything that works, you don't have to take, a second best choice. You can go back out if there isn't anything. I think what's important is, as you said, the theme. You definitely want to clarify what you're looking for there.
Right. Okay.
If I may clarify, I just want to add one more thing.
Sure.
So when
so Chairperson, I'd like to leave your comment.
Is that Councilmember Montana? Carmen, you're not coming through very clearly. It's a pity because this connection is atrocious this evening. We're really challenged. Councilmember Montana, did you want to add something to the discussion? Okay, well, we're going to move on. And Sandeep, I'm
Hello?
sorry. Hi, Carmen.
Who did you call to talk, Chairperson?
You have, I'm sorry. We're waiting for you. So can you have permission, Carmen?
Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, no, it's not coming through very clearly, Carmen. Tegan, I don't know whether IT can help. Is there a...
Mike is on, and I don't know if he's able to help though when we're remote like this.
Yeah, this is Mike. I think the issue is with the endpoint connection. So this is the meeting. Most of you are coming across fine. It just certain connections are not good.
Well, it's a little frustrating. I would really like to hear what Councilmember Carmen Montano has to say.
There's also the chat option. I mean, if somebody really wants to use that.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. Councilmember Montano, could you put your comment on chat for us?
Fortunately, she suddenly dropped off the meeting.
Oh, it looks as if she has. All right, let's move forward. And Tegan, if you see the council member coming back on, wave it. No, you can't wave your hand. Just let us know, okay?
I will, but I do want to let you know that I just checked public comment to see if she'd responded, and I don't see her, but I do see another member of the public. So if I may read that one.
You want to read it?
Yes.
Okay.
To City Council, Arts Commission Chair, Commissioner, and City Staff, the pedestrian overcrossing required to be showing the significance of City of Milpitas and historical significance. Also, the art should be sustainable, long-lasting, and where it be preserving. The cost consideration and artist work should be compiled as to the city to maintain the intellectual rights. For example, City of San Francisco Pier 39 sculpture keeps changing theme based on event. Request to consider the comments. Sincerely, Irvish Mehta. So I think that that's talking about temporary artwork, if it's something that changes.
They may have interpreted my street art as being graffiti. That wasn't exactly what I was proposing or suggesting, but it's a fair comment. And I appreciate the comment from the public, from Mr. Meadows. Sandeep, you were trying to make a point, so can we go back and you said you wanted to add another comment.
Yeah, is that from me?
Yes, it was. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So about the budget, I did not mean to have a budget more than $30,000.
Okay.
All I was saying is, instead of announcing a budget when we are issuing call of artists, we should be open and we should pick the best possible from the available pool.
I agree. And that's why in my little notations here, I said not to exceed 30,000 rather than saying 30,000. So with that, are you happy with that wording?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Let's go back then now to the geographic location of the candidates. And Joyitha made a good point that there are great artists in Alameda and Oakland and San Francisco. So how does the group feel in that context? Should we open it up to the Bay Area, I guess, the surrounding counties of the Bay Area? Joyitha, what do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think it's a good idea because the more more artwork we receive, we are at a better scope to choose and have an idea. And I really liked the idea of the person from the public who wrote that it should be something which can be changeable. That was an interesting point. And I don't know how it can be done, whether it could be, if anybody could, if it's just a mural or if it's lighted up artwork or how it's going to be, because, what happens to the mural when it's dark? It would be interesting to have some kind of lighting also. So I think we should be putting a little more thought about it between daytime, nighttime, and what we're visually going to be seeing, especially in the winter when it becomes dark earlier. I think I liked that idea of a change, maybe, summer colors, fall colors, and it incorporates with the lighting and the painting. So it would be interesting if it's an artist who can envision that and create something which has some kind of light effect as well.
Tall order, Joy.
Huh?
I said that's a tall order.
Tall order. Well, we're spending a lot of money, so.
Yeah, we are. No, we are.
Okay, I'm on. I called in through the phone instead of
Terrific. Terrific.
You can hear me now?
Yes.
Yes,
All
we
right.
can. Yes,
Thank
we
you.
can.
Okay. So where were we at?
Well,
What? Go ahead.
no,
I'll
no,
wait
no,
to-
no. We're actually waiting for your commentary. I don't know how much
Oh.
you've heard so far, Carmen.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I'm really glad that the commissioners have chosen a mural as the medium to use for the artwork. And I do like some of the commissioners have mentioned that they'd like to see a theme of different things about Milpitas, like the history of the Ford Motor Company, the agriculture with the little cornfields, the adobes,
Right.
the BART, and then kind of transitioning with the Pacific Union train and BART, the transportation thing, the hillsides, the diversity, and then I think somebody said
Yep.
high tech. That would probably be the semiconductor chip, because that was this whole area. That was the birth of Silicon Valley.
Right.
So I really do like the mural, but I had a question on graffiti. That's going to be a big problem. You've probably seen around town, there's a lot of graffiti these days. And how are we going to protect that mural from vandal, people that probably a lot of young kids, I hate to say it, but they vandalize, they put graffiti on the wall. So how are we going to protect the mural, because we're paying what, $30,000. So that's my issue. And then also I think you, John, had mentioned you'd like to see somebody from Santa Clara, but another commissioner had mentioned that they'd like to have more. They would not like to limit it just to Santa Clara County, and I agree with her. I think if we're going to get the best mural, we need to open it up to everyone, because there's so much talent out there, and we want to make sure that we tap into the best talent to preserve or to showcase our history in Milpitas, and well, not just the history, but the mural.
Okay.
So anyway, those are my questions, and I really appreciate the commissioners. They're doing a fantastic job. Thank you.
Thank you, Carmen. And I take no right of privilege on these suggestions, and all I was doing was batting it out for discussions. But of course, Santa Clara County, and in particular, the artist community down here is obviously my favorite. I love them all, and I wish I could give them all a commission. Okay, so let me just quickly answer one question, Carmen, on the graffiti. Okay. And you can't, unfortunately, as long as there's a bare wall or a wall that's a vertical surface, it's a challenge to stop or to prevent it. But I've had experience with this actually when I was very active with the art community and the gallery business in Los Gatos. And I was on the art commission down in Los Gatos for a while. And we actually were concerned about several murals that we have in Los Gatos and the potential damage that might occur to them. And we contacted Santa Cruz, and we went down there and talked with their art commission and their city manager and the museum director. And they told us that the more actual art, painted murals that you have on the wall, the less graffiti. and they gave an example of several new pieces that have gone up since the earthquake downtown that have been untouched by graffiti artists as a result. So I still think there's a risk that somebody is going to do something to the art, but I think the more murals that we have in and around our city as time moves on, I think we will be discouraging and well, I should say discouraging those mischief makers who want to send their message in that way. I also will add that there is art, graffiti art, that now has become permanent and that has become part of the art world. So
Yeah.
it's got a dirty name, and there are a lot of reasons why we should be concerned about it. But there are also artists who have dedicated their life to graffiti and are doing superb work. And you can see that now on the boarded up shops in Oakland, and what they're doing with some of those stores up there at this point. Anyway, so let's see. So it looks, Joyitha, as if you're beginning to win out as far as the event artists and how we cast the net. And I don't know whether there's anybody in this group that would disagree with expanding the or suggesting that we actually approach any artist in the Bay Area, regardless of county. There's probably better wording than that, but does anybody object to that? Commissioner Tan, I haven't heard from you recently. How do you feel about that?
I'm okay with any artist from anywhere.
Okay, all right. Sandeep?
I like the idea that we should be open to Bay Area artists.
Got it. Okay, then let's Tegan. So we've got two things now locked down. We have three things. Excuse me. We have the mural. We have a cost not to exceed 30,000, and we have the casting a net, a geographic for the candidates. So now artistic style, I think we all basically agreed, with the exception of Sandeep, who said we should encourage the artist, an artist, to consider some sort of blending. Would that be or something that actually shows a continuance of the architectural style from the BART station? And I don't mind. I mean, I think you could do that and also incorporate all the things we're talking about in terms of history and so on. I don't think it would limit that. The one challenge would be if we move towards Joyita's suggestion and we consider some sort of lighting effect, but maybe that could be just, well, you know, you're talking about the public forum suggestion that we consider a changeable art. And I'm not sure how with a mural we would succeed with that. Lighting, though, is an issue. And that should be incorporated in our discussions, because at night, because you will not necessarily be passing right by it. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tegan, but it seems to me it does need to be lit. And in fact, if it is lit with some kind of spots or something, that would make it more visible from the expressway, which would be, I think, required. I think we would want that.
I think you do want to keep in mind that this is the bottom of a public staircase. And because of that, it's going to be well lit anyway, as it's never going to be dark around there. They want it to be lit so that people will feel safe as they're going up and down the stairs. So the ordinary street lights and station lights that are in that area are going to shine on this artwork to a decent extent, so it won't be in darkness ever.
I have a couple of suggestions, if I can say those suggestions.
Go ahead.
For the artwork, I have sometimes seen in cities, I do understand, Chair Ag, that where there is art, there is no graffiti on artwork. I have now not really seen vandalism on artwork, mm, and that is true. But I'm also thinking that we could have a plexiglass, which is kind of kept on top of the painting, and that might be a way of protecting it, or even having lights or something like that specific to that. So
Yeah, I think that is possible, Dewey. There is a with some of the murals that I've worked with, they actually have a coating. It's like a glazing, which protects and doesn't distort the colors. It's not affected by UV rays or anything else, but protects the actual art itself and can easily be washed. But some of these graffitiists have ways of getting around that, unfortunately. But the plexi maybe is a suggestion.
If I may, John?
Yeah.
Most murals, it's a good idea and practice for them to have a coating, as you say. They put a sacrificial coating on so that they can, if it gets destroyed, they can take it off. And usually when murals are getting destroyed, it's not so much, it is rare for it to happen to artwork, but when it happens, the worst is when they scratch into it.
Yeah.
As opposed to painting on, because if it's painted on, you can peel off that sacrificial layer and get rid of it. Yeah. But when it's scratched in, that's usually the worst problem.
That's a good point.
So I think if we have a good quality sacrificial coating, if people get it, for the most part, you'll be able to just peel it off and put a new clear coat over. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Let's see now. I just want to be sure. I think we covered both of Carmen's points, and I think we've basically described what we would expect to see. We have no limitations on how we go about the mural. Is that a fair statement? We're not telling them that it's got to. Well, first of all, from my vantage point, and I may be wrong, but we're not planning on a sort of art that could be changed with the seasons or with current events or anything else. We're really looking for something that's more permanent, that is actually current to the extent that it voices a reflection of where Milpitas is right now, but also where we've been and why we're at where we are. And to me, that's very important because, as I described, the sort of the gem between the two large cities, we stood out. We stood, and Carmen will attest to this. We were about to be swallowed up either by Fremont or annexed by San Jose, and we said, no, we're not. We are separate from that, and we are a city on our own, and we'll always be that way. And so I think that message has to come across, not only with our personalities, but also with the city as a whole. Anyway, going back to style there, have we given, Tegan, have we given you enough on that parameter for you to put some words together?
Yes, I think so. I think you want it to be compatible with the bridge, is basically what I'm hearing in that.
Well, yes, but I think it has to reflect the theme that.
I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about artistic style. Yes, I understand what you want to do with the theme as well, I think.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had one more thing to add.
Yeah, that's fine.
when you're writing the the call to artists, if we do add, anybody who is envisioning how to light it up creatively, artists think out of the box. If they envision different things. And so if we just throw in this idea and they can figure out how to do something which is lit up, I think it would be a neat idea to let them, if somebody is thinking, and it would be great to have a very, lit up mural. I don't know, it might be something to think about for them.
Joita, I'm sure Tegan can find a way to include that. And if she doesn't, okay, I'm sure there's going to be several more opportunities for murals that we'll get a chance to talk about, discuss, and end up with the commission. So I would honestly see Milpitas as we move forward, Milpitas being an excellent location for a lot of art. We'll hope that Tegan can word that the way you would like to see it worded. And if we don't end up with an artist that comes up with that, we'll find a way to put him somewhere else, okay? All right. Okay. So, Tegan, I think we've actually accomplished a goal here. If you feel comfortable being able to take our dialogue and incorporating it, and if you have no objections, I will forward a copy of this scratch sheet that I put together prior to the meeting, that you can get my thoughts. You can share. I can share my thoughts with you.
That sounds great. I think because we're asking you for a recommendation, we do actually need a motion. So if you could make a motion and second it and vote.
Okay. The motion would be that the commission agrees with modifications so recorded to the parameters proposed by the city staff for a mural to be displayed on the or at the crosswalk, the descending stairs of the crosswalk across Montague Expressway. Does that sound okay?
Sure, that's fine. And we've noted that not to exceed 30,000, a mural open to Bay Area artists, no specific demographic restrictions, and a theme related to Milpitas's history and its current, what it has become today. Befitting its accomplishments over the years.
Yeah, I'd like to say something like, that this is a major access point to the cities. I mean, I think that that's important. So this is telling that person when they come into the city who we are, who we want, not who we want to be, but who we are. So yeah. But a theme, I think, is important. Okay, so I've put the motion together. Do I have a second?
I second Commissioner Tang.
Thank you, Benjamin. All right, wonderful. So all those in favor?
Aye, Commissioner Ghosh.
Thank you. Commissioner Umarini?
Yes, I do.
Okay, Commissioner Tang, yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Driggers? Commissioner Driggers? Christina, you're on unmute. Unmute. All right. I certainly
How about now? Can you hear me?
yes, I can. Yes. So you're an I?
I'm an I.
Okay, and I'm an I. So we have a vote and unanimous vote. Thank you, everybody.
I have one question, John.
Yes.
When an art piece is, when the artist, when we have to choose, who are we, is this the panel which will be choosing? Or do we open it out to, I was thinking expert professional artists also to have their viewpoint. How is this usually done?
That's a good question. I have only seen the finished submissions on some sculpture. So, and as I understood it at that point, we were representing the community, but we were also relying on the community for a final decision on what should be installed. Now, whether we can or should bring in experts in particular areas, it's a good question. Tegan, do you want to give me some guidance on that?
Sure. I have never seen a city bring in outside experts. The group of you have been chosen because you have some expertise in various art forms, and Chair Ag is right. You are representing the community. Certainly there are ways to get community input for public art pieces when you're down to a final selection, especially if it's not a clear winner to you. But usually commissions or art selection committees do just fine without an expert to review. What we might have, you sometimes get staff opinions, and sometimes we will bring in something like, it doesn't happen much on murals, but you might bring in an expert opinion about like how well the art would age, or how expensive and costly it might be to maintain it. So that's the kind of thing that you would rely on an expert for, but not typically the design portion or the aesthetic portion.
So we're saying then that Joyita, the monkey's on your back. Okay. The one piece that I've actually seen the process through from beginning to end, I think we ended up with something that's terrific. Now, that's only my personal opinion, and we haven't seen it up yet. But I do think that it's not only is it classy, it's tasty, it's the right piece of art in the right location, et cetera, and it includes the history of that particular location too. So I think that's the best answer I can give you, Joyita. I think we are responsible. The monkey is on our back.
I have confidence you'll do a great job and select a perfect piece.
I think so too. I think so too. I'm trying to find my notes on the meeting here, and what did I do? Okay, so we're now then on to C, Virtual Phantom Art Gallery. Staff will explain how a virtual phantom art gallery might operate and options for commission's involvement.
Okay.
And I thought, Tegan, you listed, maybe I didn't read it properly, but I thought you listed some of the action that we could be involved in. Like,
I did, and I'll go over it when I do my staff report.
Okay, all right.
So shall I do it?
Yeah, why don't you do it now?
Okay.
Yeah.
So as you know, obviously the Phantom Art Galleries in both the library and the community center are temporarily closed because we can't have gatherings and we can't have people in those buildings. The staff would still like to offer an opportunity for local artists to display their work digitally. We've been doing a lot more things online as a result of the pandemic, and this is something that we think would be transferable. And while it may not be the same experience, we think that it does offer benefits both to artists to be able to share their work with a larger audience, and perhaps a virtual gallery would allow them to reach even more people than, say, the community center or the library would, because that's dependent on people in Milpitas. But if you're on the internet, anybody can see your work. We have, when we have exhibits in place at the community center, which is the biggest gallery as far as both space and attention, that includes a little artist reception with often an artist talk or a demonstration or something that goes along with it. We think that that's also something that could be transferable to the internet. You could still have an artist talk broadcast, live stream, or recorded, and you could have a demonstration of the artist at work. You could even have the artist give us a tour of his or her studio, and maybe you could see something in time lapse as it's created. So there's different things that you could do with an online exhibit if you wished. What we would like to do is be in touch with the artists you have previously approved and invite them to submit material for a virtual display. I realize that not everybody has high quality digital representations of their art, and some artwork might not be suitable for digital display, especially if it's 3D, but some of them may wish to take us up on it. And I'm sure that there are other artists out there who maybe haven't considered exhibiting with Phantom Art Gallery, whose work would be perfect for an online gallery. So staff has it in our work plan to go ahead and work on this, but we would love to have you as our partners working on it. The ways that you could assist, in addition to your usual role, which is selecting the artists, and if we were to get submissions for a virtual gallery, we would bring them to you and have you vet them and decide whether they're worthy of being displayed in our online gallery. But you could also help by attending any live online artist receptions or viewing pre-recorded videos if they made those, helping us to publicize exhibits when we have an online exhibit, recruiting digital and video artists to submit their work, and that would be a big one, especially artists who might not have been familiar with the Phantom Art Gallery previously. You could help us with contacting the previously approved artists to tell them about the opportunity and see if they're interested. And you could also, depending on your own technological skills, you could help artists who are less familiar with technology sort of understand how they would do it. Some of our artists may not be online themselves, and so they may not understand what's the point, how would they benefit from it, and also how would they go about preparing pictures of a traditional painting or something in order to put it on a digital gallery. And then finally, if any of the commission had the interest and skill in digital photo editing, that could be something that you could help with. So those are some of the options that we've thought of. There may be other things that you can think of as far as how you could help if you're interested. But that concludes your staff report.
Okay, well, I think actually it's a great idea. And as you went through those items, I did find my notes here. You know, as far as I'm concerned, I'd be happy to jump in and help wherever I can on any of those items that you listed. I was thinking then of Joeita because she is a practicing artist, and so we should. I don't think there's any favoritism if we consider her as part of the potential artists that could be included. And Sandeep is a photographer, so I would hope that Sandeep has a lot of connections with photographers. And I would assume that we could be working with the high school too and students in their various art classes, and giving them an opportunity to display their work. There would be no preclusion there, would there?
No, you might have to recuse yourself if you were too closely related to the artist whose work is being considered, but certainly reaching out to them would be great.
Yeah. Well, why don't we get some responses? Joyitha, how do you feel about the virtual art gallery, the Phantom Art Gallery, I should say? It's, would you be willing to help out with some of the maybe judging, selecting, promoting?
Yeah, I'm actually very interested in it. I don't know why I never exhibited there, but
well,
it's a really good gallery, and I think we should kind of promote it as a digital. And if there are, older artists who are not familiar with the digital world, I would be willing to help. Absolutely.
Super, super. And that is true of me too. And Sandeep, I can't see you saying no to this, or I shouldn't pressure you, I don't think.
Of course, I'm interested in it.
Good. So I think, Tegan, you've got a lot of support from, and Ben, I'm sorry, I didn't ask you, how do you feel about that? Are you willing to jump in?
I might be a bit busy, but sure, I can jump in.
Yeah. Well, we'll put you on the list, okay? So Tegan, I guess you're getting a very positive response from us. So I think we need to know timetable and more specific what your plans are, and just let us know as individuals, I think, rather than as commissioners, and see how we can help.
That sounds wonderful. Thank you so much. And there's no action required because this was an information item. So having your enthusiasm as volunteers and supporters of the project is really all I needed right now.
Okay, there was one other question. I know that the LGHA, whatever it is, the Golden Hills GGHA Art Association, they've lost their opportunity to display their work now for 6 months. Could we approach them as a group too, do you think, or as individuals?
Either way, we could do a digital exhibit of their organization with each artist submitting a painting or something, or we could do, specific individual artists who are members of the organization.
Okay. Let me talk with Nancy, and maybe if you have no objections, I'll give her your connect with you, and see if we can explore that, because I know that they still are thriving during the COVID situation and communicating between each other. So it might be an interesting opportunity to get them to share their work.
Sure, that would be great.
All right.
I had a question, Tegan, regarding exhibiting to Phantom Art Gallery. If a person does not live in Milpitas anymore, but her roots were in Milpitas, is that person allowed to exhibit?
Sure, absolutely. Any artist can apply to you, and the Arts Commission has approved artists who don't have any connection to Milpitas. They may live in San Jose and work in San Jose, but they've had an opportunity to exhibit here. We typically give preference to Milpitas artists. So if you had a huge influx of applications, then all things being equal, the Milpitas artist would get it. But it's really up to you guys who you feel is worth exhibiting.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So Tegan, I think you'll have to take the lead on that. Keep us informed and let us know, the timing and the schedule, and we'll jump in and help.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Good. So we've got to the final item here, the work plan.
which is really more of an information thing. There's nothing to do with it. You've already approved it.
Okay,
And I'm just including it because we're getting ready to send it to council along with all the other commission's work plans.
okay,
And we'll be back in touch after council's approved it, let you know if they've made any changes to it, but that's what we're looking at right now. That's what's being presented to them based on
Okay.
your approval of this at the last meeting.
okay. Now, the only question I have is the determining the specs for the Montague pedestrian overcrossing the second location. Where's the, oh, I'm sorry, select and commission artists for Montague pedestrian overcrossing. Will there be any exploration by the council on the details and the parameters for that?
So we would inform them and, but they typically don't, it's an informational item when it goes to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I would love to defend it if there is any, if you want to pick it apart, that's the.
I'm sure if we hear any questions, we'll let you know, but
Okay.
I'm not aware of questions at that level in the past.
Okay, thank you, Stephen.
Mhm.
All right, so item 10, city liaison reports. Are there any additional liaison reports?
Just to let you know that we are starting very, very slowly and cautiously to reopen things. The playgrounds opened on Monday. As far as things that sort of connect to the Arts Commission, we will have a couple of events coming up, quasi events. There will be a drive-through Halloween event, socially distanced, where people will come through. It'll be pumpkins in the park, except it'll be in your car and you'll drive through and get your pumpkin kit. But that's a fun opportunity for kids and families to, you know, dress up and dress their car up artistically. We are going to take pictures and video as people drive through so that we can put together a virtual parade afterward.
Great.
In time for Halloween.
The drive-through is over by the civic center, by the council meeting, the council.
It'll be where the senior center's front door is. Okay. Yeah. So that's going to take place in mid-October, and then the virtual parade would be ready for Halloween. The other thing that we are working on is Veterans Day, and that also will be virtual. And we are inviting members of the public to submit photos of their veterans to, you know, include in a virtual engagement there. Yeah.
And last year, of course, we had Denny there. I remember correctly, Denny Weisgerber, and of course he's no longer with us.
In spirit, John.
I'm sorry?
In spirit, he'll always be with us in spirit.
I know you will. I know you will. If any of you commissioners want to know the history behind Denny, just let me know. He's absolutely fascinating. He's part of Milpitas, and it's quite a history. Okay, and I don't know whether Council Member Carmen is still with us. Yes, I believe she is. Carmen, do you have any comments, any last remaining remarks? And it doesn't sound as if she does have. All right. Future agenda items. The only thing I think I always like to have a list of those, and I was looking at the last ones. There's one I think we could strike off now.
Oh, okay, John. Yeah, I was muted, so now I pressed *6 to unmute myself. Anyway, I was talking and oh, you didn't hear me. So I'm sorry. So my liaison report on the city council meeting was a short meeting. Well, shorter. It wasn't really short, but it was. We usually go on till midnight, but this one was shorter than that. So the highlight, I guess, is that we ratified the parcel tax, the quarter-cent parcel tax, to move forward in this on the November ballot. And if you all know, our revenue stream has been cut substantially, and the reason why we are pushing for a one-quarter cent sales tax is so that way we can ensure that we have that we can provide core services to the community, which includes fire, police, parks and recs, and street maintenance, the potholes, the lights, and that we keep the lights on in their city. So, and we are one of the better cities that have managed our finances, but we are preparing. You know how they say, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So, as you know, COVID has really affected the economy, and we're probably going to be seeing more effects of it as this quarter ends in a couple of weeks. So, anyway, we're all promoting it, and like I said, we want to make sure that our city gets the services that it needs for our citizens. And that's it. Thank you.
Carmen, there's just one other thing. You've got a council meeting tomorrow, a special meeting, I think, with the planning department, which is of interest to me because I think the planning department will be presenting the plans for, or the proposed general plan for Midtown and Milpitas Metro. And
right, it's a joint meeting with to discuss the general plan with the planning commission. Correct.
Yeah.
All right.
To me, that's fun because Midtown is the oldest part of our city, or one of the oldest parts of our city, and what we do with that, I think, will make a big difference to how our community grows.
Yeah, I've been pushing to get Main Street revitalized, and and you know how we have a we have a TASP, TASP, Transit Area Specific Plan fee, and that fee that the developers have to pay is for the infrastructure, the gates, the lighting, and all that. So what I have proposed to our city managers and to our planning directors that we create some type of a task fee. I don't know what we would call it, but that means that any development on Main Street that would provide street lighting, street maintenance, and that's the way to how we can uplift that neglected area. Yeah. And so I think the city needs a historic place where people can go and walk and shop, and we need to start revitalizing it. I mean, you have many other cities like Palo Alto, Sunnyvale, they all have a historic old town, and we're lacking that in Milpitas, so hopefully we can get that going. Yeah. And that's tomorrow. Mm-hmm.
That's tomorrow at 6, 6:30.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
6 o'clock. Yeah.
And I think anybody can watch, yeah. You can't join in but into the discussion, but you can watch. I think there might be public comment. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure, but I know that, I certainly would encourage any commissioner or all the commissioners to tune in if they can. It is really a very, very interesting plan that they've got.
Right.
And, it actually affects us. It'll have an impact on us because of the style, the way they design. They're even talking about, and Carmen, you can correct me if I'm not completely accurate here, but the medium underneath the overpasses, they're talking about even having those lighted or sculpture or so on and so on. So there's lots of things that may be happening. It's way in the future, but it will involve us. And so
yeah, it's going to involve the Arts Commission. So that's cool. You guys can all have a little say so in it.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you, Carmen.
Join the meeting.
I'm sorry?
How do you join the meeting?
Go to the city website, and I usually key into streaming, but it's at 6 o'clock, so you can actually zoom in. I think you'll probably be able to see it on Facebook too.
Okay.
And if you're stuck on that, Joy, you can just email me and I'll give you guidance. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. That was really a very enjoyable discussion, an enjoyable meeting, and maybe we'll have many, many more of those. And I close and adjourn the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Good night, everyone. Stay
Bye.
safe.
Stay safe.
Take care. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.